Okay, so feminism. One of the topics we're talking about today is feminism, and I think this is a pretty good, important topic to discuss. I think it's important to understand feminism and how feminism interacts with our daily lives because it's not actually something small, like a lot of people might believe. It really isn't. It's important. It's good to know, and it helps everyone. And people who say it doesn't aren't feminists, and or they're just grifty larpers. So, what are we talking about when we talk about feminism, and why am I bringing this up? Well, I've seen a very large and very concerning trend lately, especially in feminist circles, um, that saying that feminism is specifically for cisgender women. Now, I disagree with this completely. For a lot of reasons, the most obvious being, I'm not a cisgender woman. I know, I'm sorry, I serve some real cis vibes here, but I'm not a cisgender woman. Sorry if that offends you. If it does, don't care. But feminism is a movement designed to help. It was originally designed to combat the patriarchy. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this and be like, patriarchy? Cringe! And I get it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't get it. Jesus Christ. But patriarchy does hurt everyone. Let's be honest. It does. It absolutely hurts everyone. And it's important that we understand why and where that comes into play and how that comes into play. Sorry, water's good. I enjoy water. But it's really important we understand this. And I'm not saying this to be all like super reductive or anything like that. Like, I'm saying this because it does. Like, and it's like, to say that this doesn't matter is kind of to reject a basis of truth to the world. Now, feminism by definition says a equality between the sexes. That is saying like people born with male sex characteristics and female sex characteristics, and everyone in between. Because we all know intersex is a very large thing, and I will not tolerate people saying that it's not in my chat. If you think that's not the case, kindly fuck off. But when we're talking of feminism and we're talking of what and why, we need to understand the context and the outcomes. So let's look at actual feminism and see, because I think it's actually important, because a lot of these I don't even know if they're third waves or fourth wave feminists. I don't fucking know, but I think third wave is what's currently considered to be there. I would almost consider them anti-feminist, but they've basically been saying that trans women and men and trans men and anything like this are not included. And I think the actual phrasing would be a gender critical feminist. Now, first of all, I think if you're gender critical, you're pretty fucking cringe to begin with, so fuck off, fuck out of here. But okay, let's talk about it. Let's figure out why gender critical feminists believe the way they do. Now, a gender critical feminist believes that gender, your biological sex, is immutable. We call these people TERFs, and there is no idea that there is no acceptability that TERFs play a role in feminism. In fact, I would openly and very vocally argue that TERFs should be exclusively excluded from feminism, because they're not feminists. Like, let's be honest, they're not feminists. Now, when we're looking at what feminism is, though, and kind of how everything, really starts to pull down and how all this kind of stuff works, we can't ignore a couple of things. We can't ignore the idea that feminism has unarguably helped people who are not women. And whatever gender identity they choose, or whatever, their biological sex was when they were born, is it's absolutely critical to understand this. You know, we talk about how feminism is primarily derived to help women, but in all reality, with empowering women to enter the workforce, you see a large part of that being set to like actually helping like men in the workforce, if you would, or in the home life, I should say, because it's empowering men to stay home. Because hey, the women can go off and be the breadwinner. That's a good thing. That's helping the dad stay at home and be more attentive to the kids, be more attentive and spend more time with them, be more attentive to the home life, and actually understand what's going on. So it's really, really, really important we understand that feminism hasn't just helped women, it's helped men as well. Additionally, if you have two working parents, at least when when kind of all of this started, you could see two incomes come into the household. That was a really big deal. Now, you think in the 60s and 70s where average household income would be, what, I don't know, like 30,000, 40,000 a year. Oh my God, you're doubling what you can do. That was huge. Yeah, you might not be able to make hot dinners every night. Whatever, I don't care. It never really mattered to anyone. I shouldn't say it never really mattered. There are people who chose to do it. They knew what they were doing, and they knew that understand. So it caused a greater sense of cohesion within the family unit. And of course, I'm talking about traditional family units, because non-traditional family units, while they were still a thing at this point in time, they really weren't as mainstream culture as they were now. Because I'm also talking, like I said, with this discussion, I'm talking about feminism right now in the 60s and 70s. And feminists at this time knew what they were doing. The Equality Act, they knew what the Equality Act was about. The Equality Act was about getting out there and saying, yeah, no, we want everyone to have the same rights. And that's very important. It's very important to go out to understand, yeah, everyone should have the same rights. Ooh, sorry. It's super important to understand that, though, that feminism doesn't actually go through and traditionally does not discriminate against men. It doesn't. I don't think anyone can sit here and say that feminism does. And anyone who tries to say that feminism should, nowadays, and this is kind of where I'm bringing it into the modern day and talking about it. And, as feminism has evolved, we've come upon this idea of intersectionality. And intersectionality is kind of an interesting thing. And it's something that's always existed, but we only really kind of started to understand and really talk about it in the late 80s, early 90s, and really understand how it was second wave feminism that really started the discussion around intersectionality, that and the civil right, that and post civil rights movement, because now we're talking about more complex issues. We kind of have some of the basics out of the way. Let's start getting some of the more complex stuff built in and all that kind of stuff. So now we're looking at this and we're saying, what is our intersectionality and how does that play into feminism? Well, shortly defined here, I'm going to bring up a picture actually from Wikipedia that talks, no, I'm not going to use that one. I can find a better one. Yes, right here. This right here, this is intersectionality. If I can get a tab open. Yes, perfect. All right, let's get this shown up on screen. This is intersectionality. This is what intersectionality means in a, not even just like a broad sense. An intersectionality is the combination and cohesion of everything that makes up an individual. So if everyone has an intersectional background. That is not really something that is left up to debate. It's true. Everyone has an intersectional aspect to their lives. And personally, I think that's fucking awesome. I like that. That's really cool to me, But a lot of people don't necessarily see it that way. So, yeah. But it is a combination of who you are, how you identify, and the social and economic status of your upbringing and your current reality. So if I were to go through all of this, I'm white, college educated, pansexual. I am not disabled at all. I do have some knee pains and stuff, but generally I don't consider myself to be disabled. I am in my 30s. I am a trans woman. I am a American. My culture is, again, American. I guess my ethnicity and culture would both be American, European-ish backgrounds. I speak English, and I am a middle-class person. Like, that is my intersectional identity. And, this is a useful tool to help understand. And I will go ahead. I'm actually going to drop this in chat. If anyone else wants to take a look at it on their own, feel free to. I might put this in the video. I might put that as a link to the video when I actually go through and make it. Who knows? We'll see. But when we're talking about all of this, we understand that this is the culture. This is the whole makeup of a person is their intersectionality. Now, a lot of feminist theory nowadays and feminist action is based upon intersectionality. There's a lot of feminists, though, that look at intersectionality and say, oh, no, this is only about women. This is only about the gender. That's all the feminism looks like, which is a complete logical fallacy in this situation. Because feminism doesn't just help women, as I've said before. It is designed to dismantle the system known as the patriarchy, and even doing that helps men so much. We talk about, in a social sense, toxic masculinity, and I'm not trying to, impugn anyone for saying that, but for saying, oh, you are toxic, but I'm sorry, I'm pulling up something on the patriarchy, so we can talk about that too, because it's important. But when we talk about what the patriarchy is, we talk about how this all works. Is we talk about men needing to be demanding men be hyper masculine, women be hyper feminine. A man should never show feelings because that's completely unreasonable. I don't think that's unreasonable in any sense of the word. In fact, once we've started to see, the patriarchy get dismembered and start to get, a better understanding of what's going on. Sorry. I'm getting Reddit comments. I posted a video yesterday, and people on Reddit are, there's a lot of people that just don't understand some of the more social nuances of Reddit and whatnot. But not here to talk about that. That's okay. We can talk about that later. So what we're talking about the patriarchy and how everything plays down and how everything lines up with an intersectional outlook. So when we're actually looking at this and we're trying to understand why this is important, is because with the dismantling of the patriarchy, historically we have seen women come into more leadership roles. We have seen men come into more emotional stability. These are absolutely huge things, and this is all Wikipedia, so you can go ahead and come out here and read this yourself. I just really wanted to show that here is information out there. It's not too hard to find, and I'm not trying to gatekeep feminism from anyone. Like I said before, I believe feminism is absolutely 100% for everyone, and I think it's pretty untenable to go through and say no, it's not, because you're denying history. You're denying the fact that yes, we have adapted as a people and as a species to come to this understanding that, look, there's more to this than just what we see, than just what we see on the top level here. And it's important to recognize the fact that feminism has helped everyone and will continue to help everyone, because it's not about dismantling men's rights. It's not about simply promoting women's rights. It's about promoting rights and equality for everyone. And I know some people are going to be, and I know that when I put this on YouTube, it's going to get a bunch of gender critical feminists who are going to come in and going to say, oh, well, it's just about women, and well, you're just wrong, and you're not even a woman anyway, and all this other shit, because they don't want to include the man in their sort of feminism. But as a leftist, fuck you, I disagree. Like, no, we absolutely need to include men in feminism because it's important. It's important to understand what patriarchy has done throughout the entire system to really understand how best to combat it. If we don't understand how patriarchy has negatively impacted men versus how it has negatively impacted women, we don't necessarily know how best to target our energies. We can only look at one. It's just like if you look at one side of, one aspect of something, you're never really going to understand it. Like the 1350 meme is a huge part of this. If we look at 1350 and we don't look at any other factor, okay, and I'm not saying that it's correct. I'm saying that that's where that comes from because they're only looking at one factor of it. You have to look at everything. Nothing exists in a vacuum, and to treat feminism as some sort of vacuum is to treat it in a destructive manner. And I don't think that I would be, misguided in saying that. I think I'm 100% safe in saying that it's a destructive manner to look at feminism that way. But like I said earlier, one of the things that's been happening to me specifically is in a lot of online discourse, people have been saying, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna accept men in my feminists, and I'm not gonna accept trans people in my feminism because they're not actually real women when they face very real problems too." And you can't, you can work towards one goal, but why not include people? But at that point in time, you're literally turning people away who want to help. So, and that's really the point that I'm getting at here. Like, it's not a small and niche thing to say. It's not a super spicy hot take. It's a very real thing. So yeah. I'm just sick and tired of people trying to gatekeep feminism and say, well, this is only for women, and it's not, because we absolutely know it's not. There can be men there are tons of men that are feminists. Feminism is important for everyone.